Hi, Mahalakshmi.
Hello, Mansi. Good morning.
Good morning. So, welcome to Lovely's Cancer and Onco.io. This is a cancer healing journey talk where we invite speakers who have gone through cancer, maybe as a patient, as a caregiver, or as a survivor, and they inspire others who are going through a similar journey. This not only helps them with the treatment, but also motivates and inspires them when they listen to others' journeys. So, thank you for giving out your time for this. It's an honor to have you with us. So, can you please introduce yourself and let us know how it all started?
Sure. Um, what's in a name? Yeah, but yes, just to know who I am. And I've been in this healing, I'm into healing, counseling. That's where my work involves. So, just to give you a little background about it and how this whole my condition was diagnosed was it all started with excessive bleeding, and it just I was, of course, I'm 48, so this happened a year ago, and I was approaching my menopause, and I thought this was usual, and having this excessive bleeding, and I was like sort of okay, taking it in stride. And that's where really my angel support and everything, my husband, he said, are you crazy? I think we need to. And it was all during this corona time, so you try and manage things as much as you can before you reach out for help. And so he says, no, I think you need to consult a gynecologist, and we need to get advice from the doctor as to how. And so he literally connected me to the doctor, and the gyno spoke to me over the phone, and he gave me something to control the bleeding because it was excessive beyond measure. And it got controlled, and then we went and met him, and we got the ultrasound done, and the inner lining, the uterus inner lining, the thickness was quite considerable. So my gynec advised me to go in for a hysteroscopy, and we were like asking him, is it okay if we wait till Diwali? So he says, no, I think you should just get it done. So we got it done. We got the hysteroscopy done, and then of course it was immediately out that yes, there is malignancy. This condition is more so it's called the endometrial cancer, where it happens with the internal lining of the uterus. So then we had to get, the next step was now where to go, because this is not something like your everyday fever or anything that you have your general physician, it's like, then where do you go for help? So my gynec did advise us an oncologist to go for. And then my really the savior was my our own family doctor. He says, I know exactly where you need to go, and he put us on to a gynec surgeon, oncosurgeon, and extremely humane person. I mean, it's so beautiful. I think everybody, whatever path that they follow, and they believe theirs is the best. While yes, every path has his, I think, instead of calling names to any of the therapies or any of I think it's very important. It's very important, where do you seek support or help, from which source, also makes a huge difference, whether it's allopathy, whether it is alternative therapies, everything. I think the person and the setup makes a big difference. And in my case, really, when we met him, we knew, because my husband was very clear that we need to first get all expert opinion and then take whatever decisions we had to take. But we met this oncosurgeon, and who's a specialist with gynec cancer conditions. So he immediately, we went for scan, and the thing was, when you looked at me, I was quite symptom free. Other than the bleeding, nothing. And we were in the Corona times, so I was like, there was a lot of work at home also, and then you went out. I mean, you worked, and then I thought I probably faced a fatigue, but I thought it's because of you're doing a lot of work. That's why there is fatigue, and I was very symptom free. So immediately, even though we went for a scan, but again he told me that you need to surgery is something inevitable. You need to go in for that, and he thought the surgery will take care of everything because I was quite symptom free. If you would look at me, you couldn't make out anything. So he thought, but he explained to us the whole process, how the entire while the malignancy was with the uterus, but the entire reproductive unit will go. Everything would be removed, right from your, not only your uterus, but your ovaries, your fallopian tubes. And he also told me that, I will only be able to tell you, I can't tell you now, but the lymph nodes around the pelvic region, I would have to look at those also. But that I can take a call only when during surgery. I cannot tell you what now, but you need to just trust me with that. So, and then, you suddenly you feel that your lymph nodes are going to go, this is that is going to go. So it was, but we trusted him completely. And but we had questions. And in my case, more than me, my husband and my son were so they wanted to know everything. What is going to happen, how, and what is going to be the impact of the surgery and on the lifestyle and so on and so forth. So that was really the thing. And honestly, the first time when I heard this, I don't know whether it was, what is it, but I was quite okay. ठीक है, यही है, ठीक है, चलो इसका भी आगे क्या सोचना है, इसका आगे क्या करना है, इसके लिए क्या करना है, ये सोचना है. इसके other than that, I was not like something I broke down, अरे why me, कैसे आ गया, क्यों आ गया, nothing. And I'm saying this because I think it's very important. How fast you accept it is something that's going to, really, it's going to, how the journey really pans out. I think it has a bearing on that. Other than, of course, my husband, he was like little broken. He said he was more emotional than me, and my son, of course, but he got into the more scientific aspect of it. What is the best thing that we can do? So all this, I think the whole family and the extended family, friends, everybody play a role in this in terms of inputs. Like in my case, it's the family doctor who really guided us to the right person, because it was clear that surgery had to be done. So I think these things make a big impact. The modality that you choose, and the person you choose, the setup you choose, is very important. So this was the thing. And even my scan reports, they couldn't find. They knew it had to be addressed, but nothing beyond that. So I went in for my surgery, and during the surgery, my doctor found that the tumor is pretty aggressive. It had also spread to the ovaries. So that was not at all, that information was just not available before the surgery. So fine, we got that surgery done, and fortunately the healing process also was great. I think the trust and surrender to your whoever you choose, your doctor, whichever therapy you choose. And I think what's very important in my case was my husband was very clear at surgery, because and my son was also. So it was something, a kind of a collective decision. You need to have the buy-in of all of you all have to be on the same page. My husband had very clearly said, whatever it is you want to do your yoga, you want to do your nature cure, you want to do everything, you continue doing everything. I won't stop you with anything, but I want you to, if something, this emergency situation require this, then we need to attend to it. So we were all on the same page. I think being on the same page makes a big difference. So the surgery happened, and then there was, after the entire reports came in, it was found the tumor was aggressive, and the ovaries also had, and some lymph nodes also had to be removed, though it had not spread to the lymph nodes. But they always remove it because they don't leave it to any chance. So then we had a discussion with again with my oncosurgeon. Now, what is the way forward? Because he had told me, from the looks of you, I think surgery and we are done. So when the reports came, he said chemo, and that was like, oh God. So I was like, really, do I need to go through chemo? And he himself put us to, he said, take two more opinions or one more opinion. Go, take your opinion and let's do it together. He also understood uh, where our, where especially again here, it was like, you don't, the other, the funniest part is you don't think about uh, cancer like condition and all on it, not like any other conditions, like even say diabetes, hypertension, or any other autoimmune disease or anything. It's not something that you think every day. You hear sometimes somebody going through it, but you don't know what actually it is. And even the sounds of, you don't get into the thing because that doesn't come into your daily needs of understanding. So even when you hear about chemo and all, my husband was like, oh God, is my wife going to go? It was like more of, he didn't understand. I remember him sitting across the doctor and literally in tears. What does that mean? Is it, so he's there, and he was like, the doctor was so nice. He says, no, there are certain protocols for everything. And even for this particular condition, and why I'm using these words, condition, I think it's very important also what words you use. Like disease. What is disease? You are in dis-ease. You're not at ease. The words make a big difference. It's very important that whenever we are using words, nothing is end of the world. Everything is a process, and in this, and healing is a wonderful process. It only gives you opportunities. You just have, of course there are challenges. I wouldn't say there aren't any challenges. There are always challenges, but with the challenges you have this opportunity, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for healing, an opportunity for sharing. I mean, it's endless. And whether you are the person going through or the caregivers, everybody are so equally involved in this whole process. And sometimes we also disregard the role of not disregard the role, but the prominence the caregiver has. I feel the caregiver has an immense prominence. And if I would say diet is important for me, exercise is important to me, I feel it's equally important to the caregiver also. So, so the chemo thing came. We did take opinion, and he told us, he really explained to us the whole process, that there is a protocol, and we need to follow a certain protocol, and that is required. And he said, and this is what he said: if you were my relative, I will ask you to go for it. I said, I mean, for us, that was it. Like, and of course, he himself put us on to second opinions, and we took that also. And in my case, it was required that I had to go through this 6 cycles of chemo. So I went through the 6 cycles of chemo, and the real challenge actually started then, even not during the surgery, because I was like, okay, and everything is fine. And uh, but what it puts you on is a very different ball game altogether. And uh, my thing was I had to go every, it was a cycle of every 21 days. So I start with one cycle, and then after the next 21 days, I go for the next cycle. And it was through intravenous, and I had to be there for about 6 to 8 hours of the chemo drugs that would be injected into me. It would take about, I mean, we would go around morning, we would leave by 7:30, and we will be back by 8:30 or so in the night, or maybe sometimes later than that, because there are so many other things that come in. The doctor has to say, okay, because it all depends upon how you respond to the drug, how much you're able to tolerate it, and so many things. And uh, and when we asked, then of course after the oncosurgeon we were put on to an oncologist, because the oncologist really decides uh, how the chemo drug is injected in you and everything. So I spoke to the oncologist, my oncologist also, who was very nice, and I asked him what else protocol you would ask me to follow while I'm in this. He says, no, just eat properly and just do what you can, don't push yourself, and that's it. uh, but what really helped me to really get through this whole process is the diet. And diet that I try to find out my own diet through various readings and everything. And since I'm into healing and nutrition and things like that, so I try to figure out what works for me, because it's very important today. We have a lot of information down. We have so much of information, and we get so swayed by different approaches, different diet. But I think it's very important keeping a very broad guideline, like, okay, your veggies, your fruits, your other protein intake, your carbo intake, and all that, keeping a broad perspective, your vitamins, your minerals. The rest of it, you need to figure out the tweaking. You need to do it. Of course, if you, in my case, since I was into it, so I knew I had that expertise. But I think it's always nice to get that expert guidance, so that you can tweak around the diet, because diet does play a role, especially when you are under chemotherapy and all. So understanding your body and how it is responding, and then tweaking the diet helps very much. So the diet did help me during my chemo and during the whole process of healing. The second thing is, of course, the pranayama and yoga. The breathing techniques are so integral part of us. It is so. I mean, you have to. I'm saying this out of complete experience, because that's what helped me to go through this whole thing with not much of a issue, And the yoga, the walking. Of course, because of the corona, you were also restricted to go out and walk in a park or so. But I think what's very important is, with whatever constraints that you are in, still you can find a middle path, and still you can find a way around. I think that's very important. And how you integrate, because sometimes what happens, these things needs to be very carefully integrated into your daily life, and unless they are made into habits and discipline, it will never work, because you'll always start feeling, अरे नहीं किया मैं मुझे करना था, मुझे पता है ये चीज अच्छा है, लेकिन मुझसे नहीं होता. Those kind of things, like sort of doesn't allow you. Try and put it down. How much? If you want to get a help from outside, get somebody who will help you, mentor you, who will guide you. That will help you immensely. It certainly helps, because while you have chosen even the conventional route of healing, other complementing therapies help extraordinarily well. So all these, I used to try and walk inside my home itself and do my stretches and do my pranayama, and And the other things, like, there are always healing channels always waiting. Like, for instance, uh, there was in my apartment, there was a person. He had lost his daughter-in-law to cancer, and he came and he wanted to meet us, and then he came and met my husband. And at that time, it was he said, and he shared with us how a pumpkin juice can help. He said, every morning have a pumpkin juice. And we readily accepted, because I think what's very important, it's, of course, pumpkin juice has got its medicinal properties and healing properties, but the way he came with a healing energy. So a lot of people actually in your journey will be waiting to come with this healing journey, with this healing energy, to just share it with you. You should just be ready to receive it and take it. I think the way he came and the way he said it had a lot of healing. That was so. That's what I think one human being is to another human being. And that, even the coconut guy who would come every day to give me the coconut water, he also came with his own healing energy too. So I think the universe, the whole, everybody around you supports you so much if you're willing to receive, and everybody is so ready to give. You just need to see. It's and they are people, you don't know. Everybody is praying for you, want to help you in some way or the other. I think in those times, isolation is just not the thing. It's about how much you can really participate. Also find community. In my case, I was a part of a WhatsApp cancer nature healing group, where a lot of people were sharing so much of information, so much of their experiences. That helped. A lot of other interactions. I think interactions and doing things, and also how do you engage your time during the whole recovery process. How do you use the time? How do you use your time in whatever possible? Sometimes you may not be able to get up from your bed also, but that's okay. That's completely okay. Can you listen to music at that time? That's something that's and any genre of music that you like. Or can you listen to something else, some talk? Or I remember I was also part of this your healing talk once. So everything, what I'm trying to say is, everything plays a role in your healing journey. You as an individual need to be ready to really take in all that. And I think that's where your open mind, your open being really plays a role. Your attitude, that I think swings the whole thing. And of course, while all the things are there, how do you really take this? How do you use this situation to your advantage, to your benefit, in whatever, however it is? I think that makes a huge difference.
That's actually correct, because even I have seen that when you get involved into a community where people are going through a similar journey like yours, they're able to connect with you better. They are able to understand your situation and guide you in the best way possible. So that always helps. So, Mahalakshmi, how was the side effects when you went through the surgery or the chemotherapy? What were the different side effects that you felt?
Um, See, during the surgery, of course, uh, as I told you, I think what really helps is the complete surrender and faith. Because the moment you have a doubting mind, you will start facing barriers to healing. Of course, doing your homework. I'm not saying that go blindly surrender to someone. No, do your homework, do your research. But once you have zeroed in on one particular modality or a doctor, stay stay faithful, trusting to the whole process. I think that makes a big, huge difference. And luckily, during my surgery, um, I can't think of any major side effect or anything. Uh, it was pretty. I could take it pretty well and handle it much well. And it's only during the chemo again, because probably my preparedness, of course, nothing comes without gratitude. And these are all cliched words, but while they may sound cliched, gratitude, prayers, blessing, but you need to really live it. And once you live it, you'll see the real spark and joy that it brings. So whether it during the chemo, I was like, again, okay, now I've accepted this, so as well go through it, with much spirit then, and make it again a learning thing. And I think if you try and see a learning in anything, in some way, that it's going to you're going to see benefit in it. It's not, I mean, it may sound also easy, but yeah, it is difficult, but still you can find your way up. There was during chemo, I mean, you can't, on some days especially, it would peak after the chemo. The next day or so, in 24 hours, you need to take a booster. So after you take that booster injection, you can't practically get up from your bed. It's sort of literally, I don't know, your muscle strength and everything goes down so drastically. So it peaks. That's what, again, your conversations with your oncologist, asking him and clarifying your doubts helps. So I would ask him how it is. He would say 2, 3. It could depend, it can depend from an individual to individual. Some people take about 2 to 3 days. Some people take about weeks time. Some people take about fortnight. Some people take about a month. So what he really said, it depends on individual to individual. Then that means you have a role, rather than being passive person taking in everything. You have a huge role to play, and it's how you want to take that position is, I think, from an individual to individual. And of course, what is every individual's capacity? But with the right support and attitude, I think you can overcome any side effect, anything. I know, I mean, I literally, because what happens, twice during this whole thing, I passed out in my bathroom. uh, that is the kind of what I'm trying to say is, the intensity could be very much, but the will, with the with your own will and support from your caregivers and your there are circles of supports that are available to you. So if you can draw in energy from them, if you can draw in healing from them, I think it can certainly be a much however challenging, like climbing a Mount Everest, you can still do it. And yeah, there are certain things where you have, because it's sort of in my case, it sort of damages your nerves. Uh, so I think what really helped me in salvaging my side effects is yoga, walking. That really helped. I still have certain numbness, frozenness in the left leg, but I don't try and pay too much attention to uh, all that. I try and building on the other things, whether it's yoga, whether it's your diet, okay, pranayama, okay, what do I need to do more? If something is not working, then what do I need to do, or what do I need to correct it, or how do I go about this? It's all
Right.
about, how do you come about something? You'll always have those factors, but you need to find a way to come about it, so that no longer bothers you, and it sort of irons out by itself. There are nausea that you go through. Those are like, ooh, your taste buds change. Your I mean, my patients used to tell me about constipation, especially the older people, and I never knew what was constipation to that heights when I went through it. When I was going through, I said, oh God, what are they going through? It helped me to connect to that levels of pain that whether it was anything, discomfort, pain, or whatever, which I had never ever in my own life, I had never ever encountered that much to that levels. So it also helped me connect, and to various things. So everything again teaches you. That's the only way to take it. So those are the side effects that were there. But I think if you try and not focus too much of your attention on the side effects, but on well-being, and how do I get myself in building my strength, building my immunity, building myself. So where your attention where your attention is, that grows. So everything else falls out, slowly starts falling out. And you will have the niggles. Okay, but your niggles are not the everything of life, right? You have so much else to look forward to. So I think that's the way to really come over everything.
I completely agree with you. And it's true that you should pay attention to your well being and everything else will be sorted. So I could see while you were talking about your journey that you tried to keep yourself very positive. Even there were times when your husband got emotional due to this news. So, what exactly kept you positive? Because this news is very shocking for the patient as well as the family. So, what kept you positive, and how did you, manage your caregivers who got emotional sometimes?
Yeah. Uh, how did I manage this? I don't think I can give credit that to myself. Um, it's a blessing. I think it's really a blessing. If certain things don't, if even something like this come to you and you're still unaffected, uh, it's certainly got to do with grace, blessings, uh, and probably because of my background, being a healer. uh, I don't know whether that was also a source of strength, because the kind of work that I've been involved in, or so a lot of factors actually played a role. But it's not something that I can give credit to myself for it. It is because something that you get, you should, my only thing is, everybody gets it. Only we need to open the doors to receive it, open the window to receive it. Grace, blessings, care, love, or even in your direst of the direst times. I think if you believe that, yes, it's for your good, because you do not really know what good is that going to come out from. Of course, there would be a price and everything. Look at your own organization, what a little I read about. I think what it's come up to, okay, what the reason, of course, nobody has to go through all this thing. We don't want anybody to really go through. But if something has happened, acceptance, and then how do you go about it? Like, look at, your organization came into being and it's really touching so many lives. So I think everything has got a reason, for a good reason to come out of it, for a well-being for others, uh, for greater good. You have to believe that anything, even if it is adverse, it has to be. You might not see the real fallout or the real outcome of it at that particular moment in time, but you have to respect it at that time, give in, accept it. And that's when you do all this, I think there is nothing other than the good that would come out of it.
Definitely.
So, and there was I had, my luckiest thing was I had support. Maybe not everybody is as lucky as me. I also had that factor also. All these you also I didn't have to think so much about finances, so much about support. All of it was available for me. So I was very lucky, I should say. Simply lucky.
That's great because being positive is the most important part of healing. Uh, Many people get depressed due to this news, and they're not able to take it in the right way, which does not help. You have to keep yourself positive. So you were talking about the learnings and everything. So I would definitely want to know that if you pick out one learning through your entire journey of cancer, what would that be?
Okay. Okay. Um, just before answering this question, while you said positive attitude, yeah, positive attitude is very important. But I think it's also important to understand in your journey, there will be moments of weaknesses. I wouldn't say that for everybody it will be very different. Even for a positive to a positive person. I mean, I'm trying to tell everything. That doesn't mean that I was always laughing and smiling, and there were moments of weaknesses. There were moments of I can't bear this pain. There were those moments where I remember after my first chemo, I literally broke down, and I told my husband, I don't think I can endure this. You know, there were moments of weaknesses, but I think what is very important is for us not to get fettered or not to get depressed and weakened by those. All emotions will flow out of you. Respect it, let it, don't suppress it. Let it. I mean, sometimes it's okay to just cry and, okay. Everything is not a fairy tale. Everything is not a this thing. But what I'm saying, it will have everything in it. But it's okay. Let it happen. Let it go. And then emerge. It's like, after rain, there is sunshine. So I cannot what can I plaster out the rains? I cannot plaster out the rains because rains are also needed, because that's where it's going to really, my soil is going to be nicely nourished. And then when the sunshine happens, I'm going to germinate and grow and shine and take the sunshine further. So, so it's not that, it cannot be like you will have everything. Uh, okay, coming to one learning, it's very difficult to say one learning. There've been so much of learning that not to be terrified by any levels of pain, and uh, and and respect every therapy that it is offering you, whether it's allopathy, whether it is other nature cure therapies. What is very important is come to, once you have decided something, stick to it and do full, be with it in the whole process. Take as much as complementary support as much as possible, because it's going to aid in the process. And you need to understand everybody's condition is different. So everybody, the needs of modality also may change. So I think respect the whole thing, and you will really get the answers as to which one you have to follow. And try not, it's very important for me that I cannot judge any other person's process or anything. I can only learn from it and take in as much as I can, and then build my own journey. So these have been my learnings, because I myself do, though I do follow alternative therapy, uh, but I think respecting every modalities is important, and creating a balance. I think it's very important. one of the things also is very important is you need to balance out everything. Balance in approach, balance in whatever that you're doing. For me, that's my mantra: balance. And that's what I think is. And I think it's very important. Never take anything for granted. Never take anything for granted. And sometimes we disregard small little things like hydration, because your body is made up of 70% water. Each of your cells need water. I used to tell my patients to drink water, but sometimes I used to forget myself. I think very important is how do you integrate many things into your daily schedule, and whatever that work you are doing. And integration is so important. And as much as your food diet is important, your emotional nutrition is also important. How do you respond? It need not be any great earth-shattering thing, but I think how you respond to everything that's happening in your life every day, right from your interaction with your help at home, or with your other relations at home or at work. Uh, how do you respond to every situation? I think is a uh, big input into your self discovery process and in your total health.
So that's actually a lot of learning that you get from every experience in your life. I completely agree with all of this. So, lastly, being a cancer survivor, what would be your parting message to others, maybe who are going through the same journey right now?
Uh, Love really heals cancer, or for that matter, anything. It doesn't have to be what is cancer. I think try and demystify the whole thing. It's a condition. What is a condition? Okay, there's some cells that are just gone rogue in your body. It's okay. How do you really then bring yourself back to balance? Bring your and how can you really use this whole thing uh, to making an impact in any small way? In any small way, if this has happened, then even this sharing. I mean, when you asked me to share, you said, would you be willing to share? I said yes. I think all this sharing, giving, compassion, everything is rolled into one, which is love. So I think that's what is more important. Love.
That's a
I think.
beautiful message. Yeah, love is important for healing.
Yeah, and I think love makes everything. Love makes you tick, and love makes you. It's a source of strength. It's a source of. Uh, it's a source of life. It's a source of creation. So that's what I feel.
Yeah. So thank you, Mahalakshmi, for joining today and spreading so much positivity. And you have shared so many learnings with us, which is definitely going to help everyone out there who are going through a similar journey. And it will inspire them, I'm sure. So thank you so much again for joining today and sharing your journey.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure talking to you, and I thank Senonko really from the bottom of my heart to give me this opportunity to share. And thank you so much. Love you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.